Studio 110.live back here in the hot seat. Dirty Harry back in the captain's chair Monday through Friday. Check the show out, Studio 110.live. Follow us on our Instagram, Studio 110.live. It's growing. It's growing. It's growing. It's growing nicely. I'm seeing the results and I'm liking what I'm seeing. Yesterday was yesterday every show is a feel-good show. But yesterday was a really good feel-good show because the studio was packed. We had so many people here in the studio. We had my guy B.D. Miguel in here. We had, of course, Elena Mack in here. We had, we had this jazz artist in here yesterday. Of course, my boy Ryan Conley from FutureNet.Club was in here. It was just kind of one of those. And then, of course, Shante from Sneaker Wars. And Shante, if you're listening, man, big shout out to you. Thanks for the T-shirt that you threw my way. I'm gonna hopefully wear it tomorrow and get those pictures up on our Instagram and continue to show the respect that Sneaker Wars deserves to be. The platform that you continue to build out here for people out here in the Northwest that are into sneakers, and sneakers really is their life. The people that are sleeping outside in Nike Town for days on end to just be able to go acquire that new shoe, and I can relate to it. I mean, like I said yesterday on there, I would never take it upon myself to sleep outside on the sidewalk to get a pair of shoes. I will never. Take my brand and take my inner soul to that level. But, hey, to each his own. Everybody's got their own style, and I still love the shoes, but I'm just, I'm not about it. So with that being said, we got another exciting show today. We got two people in today. They'll be coming in later in the show. We have Quieto, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Quieto Martinez, and he's from the dance station here, C89.5. Big shout out to my guy, John McDaniel, who's the program director over there, who oversees that station. He's been around. He's been in radio as long as I have. He's been in radio for years. So shout out to John McDaniel. Man, John McDaniel, I also want to thank you for putting my guys into rotation. The High Children, Jason and Jamal, hold up. It's getting up to 25 spins a week, 4 to 5 a day. About to also be added on KEXP. So big shout out to those guys. And of course, man, the biggest shout out of the moment right now has got to go to DJ Nasty Ness, who opened that door for me many years ago, believed in me, and created that inner pathway to ultimately be able to allow me to align my brand and some of my hidden secrets up my sleeve to be able to adapt and help. Many artists here in the Northwest that have been coming on the show. We've been playing their songs. Elena was in here yesterday, played her music. In fact, I'm going to try to play her song again today just because I really like it a lot. It's just one of those really kind of strong, it's just got a strong background, strong messaging to the record. But before we get in, like I always talk about on the show, I'm really into talking about music news stories. So Nicki Minaj breaks her silence on the Drake-Meek Mill beef. So this is what she was speaking to Beats One, and they sat down. They asked her a bunch of questions, and this is what she said a few things. But she started off with in her chat with the radio host Miss Lowe. She addressed being caught in between the now kind of defunct feud between ex-boyfriend Meek Mill, who I'm told is about to be released out of prison the next couple days. So obviously that's good news because he was feeling quite challenged, like anybody would be under those conditions. So looks like Meek Mill will get out, and hopefully we'll get some music to be able to play and try to get Meek Mill. We got contacts with Meek Mill here, of course, at Studio110.live to be able to hear from him just kind of the what's kind of evolved with him, before he had to kind of go down and serve his time, and ultimately, what he's going to be doing in terms of putting out his new album now that he's getting ready to surface back out to the mainstream again. So she says, it was one of the hardest parts of my career to date ever, Nicki said when asked about getting stuck in between the 2015 feud. At the time, I did love both of them. I couldn't erase the love I had for my team, but I also couldn't speak out. I couldn't really say much. So that's Nicki Minaj speaking about, the overall situation with Drake and Meek Mill to Beats One. Then she continues to say, you know what? I don't want to talk about legal things, but I will say, every now and then anyway, I won't go there. I'll save some of those things for my album, and I'm also shooting a documentary. Oh man, I'm looking forward to seeing that. What I will say now is, oh God, I will say that the judge in question did everything I asked of her. I can't badmouth her because I met her personally and I know what she really said to us, and he knows that, but of course, I wouldn't wish jail on anybody. But like I said, I'll get into detail on that documentary and possibly on the album, but I will say what really made me shed tears was seeing his mother cry. That's powerful. That was the first time I was like, oh my God, I can't take it. During the relationship, she was so sweet to me. And even at the end, we both kind of knew it was too rocky, but too bad too. She always showed me love, so much love, so I still care about her to this day. I didn't like seeing her cry the other day. So that's Nicki Minaj coming out and really kind of, unveiling the pattern of the relationship and really getting personal, just kind of talking about the relationship with, the moms on both sides of these forefronts, with everything with Drake and then everything obviously with Meek Mill. So I always like to see artists come out and reflect and talk about their inner relationships. And sometimes you don't really know until you hear them talk to, a platform like Studio 110.live or, Beats Radio or any of the other majors out there. So that's one of the music news stories that we're going to talk about today on the big show here. And whatever else comes at us, we will obviously address that for you. I'm also told that we have a local artist. He was in the show last week on our big cannabis show. My buddy Brandon was in there. John was in there. Jared Mursky was in here. He's a local artist who's got some strong ties with the NBA. So I'm looking forward to talking to him about his music and his alliances with the NBA. And he's got a really good stage set. So we're going to do some more music today. And we got a lot of big surprises up our sleeves. I'll be making. Hopefully it's still scheduled for tomorrow. That's what my team here at Studio 110.live is telling me, that we got a pretty big announcement, a big unveiling where everybody can benefit. And we'll be making that announcement approximately, hopefully tomorrow as it stands right now in the 3 o'clock hour. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer to make this announcement. And it's one of those feel-good announcements. It's one that everybody will be able to benefit from and everybody will remember it. And it'll be a great moment overall. So be sure to be tuned in to the big show tomorrow at about 3 o'clock out here on the West in the Pacific Standard Time, and we will get that. And if you miss it, of course, it'll be up on our social at studio110.live. So don't miss that. Man, I know I got a lot of shout outs, and I'm going to try to remember all of them. My boy Brendan up there in Shoreline, he was on the show earlier in the week on the car automotive. We talked about a lot of things, and one of the things, speaking of the car automotive segment, that intrigued me was, he operates a shop, and he sees a lot of issues come in with vehicles. And I never knew this, but he recently saw a vehicle come in, and the customer complained that they were having an issue with their rear defroster element, and it wasn't defrosting the back windshield properly. So, he had to get his team in there to figure out, is it a wiring harness issue? Is it a wiring issue up, in the dashboard element of the car? And what it ended up being was this person used Windex apparently, and they used a lot of Windex. And I guess the ingredients and the solutions that go into your average bottle of Windex got in to the wiring harness, to the heating assembly in the back windshield, which ultimately caused it to break down. So I never would have guessed. I never would have guessed that that Windex could have been the ultimate issue that would have caused a car mechanical issue like that. So you learn new things on the show every day, and he also really emphasized too for the people that, when the oil change indicator comes on in the car, you got to get the oil change, because if you start getting kind of tardy and missing your oil changes, that ultimately gets to a point where now you're starting to damage, obviously, your engine and the motor of the car. And it's, it's pretty obvious, but I think people still, they put it off for a couple extra months, and the oil gets super dirty, and it's just not good for the car. So we're going to continue to talk about a lot of car segment issues. We're going to have Brad Brotherton on again from Brotherton Cadillac to maybe even do a live broadcast from Brotherton Cadillac with Brad and his staff, and Hey, we'll talk about the Cadillac brand. We'll talk about the Chrysler Dodge Jeep brand, and we got a lot to talk about. So that's kind of a little recap on some highlights that we've had on this week's show. It's been a busy show. I'm going to try to, like I said, I want to play Elena's song again today on the show. And Elena Mack, she's an artist. She's got a big event coming up on, I want to say May 12th. And her song is called Chance. And I'm going to see right now if I can get it, pulled up here on one of my computers here in the studio and play it again for everybody that may have missed it yesterday. So actually, I have it pulled up right now. This is Elena Mack's new song. It's called Chance, and you're hearing it first. It doesn't even come out till May 12th. I played it yesterday, but you know what? I want to play it again because I really like this record. Here you go. Chance by Elena Mack, Studio 110.live. Here you go.
It's time to say goodnight. The lights are low, my city sleeps, and the moon is all alone, singing about love, smiling with the ones who stay together. Why don't we take a chance and try to keep alive the spark that once was there, burning in our eyes with everything around, suggesting things like love don't last forever. I don't care, just take my hand. Let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I know that love is like a drug, with misery and joy that only we will share, and no one else can see. The future and the past belong to you and me, my love forever. I don't care, just take my hand. Let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I love you more with every day. Take my hand, let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I love you more with every day. I do, I love you more and more. Let's give this love a chance, love a chance. We'll keep it safe forever. Let's give this love just one more chance. I do love you more with every day. Why don't we take a chance?
Brand new music from Elena Mack. It's called Chance. You heard it first. We played the world premiere of the record yesterday, right here on the show at Studio 110.live. I don't know why I am. It sounds like I'm having some technical issues. Are you hearing that in your headphones, Erica? Sounds a bit echoey to me, and I don't know why I'm having these issues right now. I'm getting some feedback too over on your mic. Shoot, this is not what I want. I'm getting some feedback though from your microphone, Erica. Let me, you know what? Actually, I just fixed the problem. Your microphone is picking up something, and it didn't sound good. So I'm going to have you go over there when I do put you on the air here. So okay, going back to what I was saying, Elena Mack. The song is called "Chance," and I played the world premiere of that record yesterday. Got some great feedback, and you know, she started playing music at really kind of getting accustomed to instruments at an early age of 8 years old. She grew up, born in Russia, and came over here really to conquer the American dream, which she's done for herself, to become an aspiring, up and coming artist right here from the Pacific Northwest. We need more of those. And she's got this big event coming up where she'll be premiering the video for that song. And there's going to be a silent auction, and there's going to be music and hors d'oeuvres. So it'll definitely be an event that you should definitely be part of. I'm going to get the team to come out and support her event here from Studio 110.live. So don't miss that. And I'm going to continue to show support like I do for all my buddies, for all my artists that have been on the show and that I work with. Jason and Jamal from the High Children, and Elena Mack, and my boy Marquis, and gosh, I don't want to forget any of them out there. I know my boy JR and his whole crew. I hosted their show at Substation this past Sunday. Payday. I know you're listening, bro, man. You really did it on Sunday night. You know, I saw the way you were in the green room, in the back room there before you hit the stage, and you put on a powerful show. And man, much props to you, man. Much props to you for getting up there and just owning that crowd and owning that stage. And I'm looking forward to working with you and getting you in here into the studio for everybody to kind of see the Payday vibe. You and I go way back from the Nordstrom's days, and I'm happy to see how you've evolved your career. So it's definitely good to see artists take their careers so seriously out here in the Northwest that really want to do well and adapt to constructive criticism, because that's what it's about, man. Sometimes you got to get the harsh critics to give their opinions and thoughts on the record. Maybe it needs to go back, into the lab and, be reproduced, and maybe it needs new production or new beats or just a whole new, remodel ultimately. But that's definitely what it's about. Erica, my show producer, if you can come get on this mic here for me, hopefully we won't have those technical issues. Something about that mic was interfering on the on-air feed, and I didn't like the way it sounded. So luckily I was able to fix it. But if you want to come over here, I want to talk to you. I know you listened to Elena's new song as I played it. It's called Chance. You could see, yeah, let's put you right here. I know you just heard Elena's new song. I played it. It's called Chance. What were your thoughts and opinions on the record, Erica?
So honestly, I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. It was very smooth, just very, beautifully crafted, and all the instruments that went into that. You can definitely hear kind of the fluctuation between all of the instruments. And she just did a beautiful job at just everything, the performance-wise. It was just outstanding.
There you go.
Gorgeous.
So you've been working on a lot of projects here for the big show behind the scenes. You introduced me to the new team that's going to be working with us that will be stopping by. I want to give them the proper introduction. I know they're on the air with me tomorrow, but I told them, had lunch with them earlier today and told them I wanted them to come by the show in the 2 o'clock hour. It's headed up by Nick, and he's got a whole crew of people underneath him that they specialize in marketing, video
digital,
placement, social,
just everything that you can honestly imagine for kind of really kind of marketing up that following and just social media base. They're just huge influencers.
So I'm really excited that they kind of ultimately approached us, and I've had a couple conversations with them in terms of what I want, the direction that I want from their assistance on. Social messaging, instrumental ways to, continue to grow that, video placements, show production and imaging, video teasers and a whole marketing game plan. So I'm excited to work with these guys and see the magic. They said that they've got some surprises up their sleeves that they're already in the lab working on for me in the show. So I'm looking forward to hearing. Just kind of talk about, you've been here at Studio 110.live's headquarters the past few nights, and you've been watching some of the team. Pro Tools is kind of what all the artists use. It's the main assembly to ultimately produce a record. It's multi-channels. There's so many things that you can do. It's a very technical audio stream illustration that you need a lot of practice to get to. But these guys, just watching them mess with the computers last night, they brought some of their computers up here to Studio 110.live's headquarters, and they had their monitors and they had a whole desk, and it was really cool to watch them. I felt like I was in a studio with a major artist, having them record a song. But just kind of tell me and kind of walk me through kind of what you witnessed these guys kind of create the last couple nights here, for the show and for what they're working on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the really cool thing about these guys too is that they work with, let's just say they work with a very, very well-respected artist and multiple artists as well.
Yeah.
So we are working on, I say we, like, I mean, technically I'm there too. So, I mean, giving our ideas, making sure that we're going to be promoted with this.
Yep.
But basically what they're going to be doing is they're going to be creating and crafting and producing all this content that is going to be exclusive content, strictly for these large artists. And so these guys have been producing, their names are, actually, I don't know if
we can just say Nick. So Nick is the ringleader.
Okay, perfect.
And everybody ultimately reports to Nick
Yes.
in that foundation. He's the main guy, and he's who I had lunch with today, and had a couple of his crew guys came out for the lunch, and they get it. They get it. They're good at what they do, and I wouldn't have anything less. And I'm excited to have this partnership with them. Like I said, I see it as a 4 breakdown process on the marketing side, on the social side, on the promo, visual video presentation side, and then on the imaging and production and jingles and everything that's going to start airing on the show. So we're going to mimic my past show and make this show exactly like that, my previous one, and make it the strongest contender. In not only in the city where we broadcast from, but on a national, international pedestal. So, what did you kind of take from kind of what you witnessed, Erica, the last couple nights? Because you were kind of, I saw you were kind of, from what I've been told, you were kind of a wallflower where you're just kind of taking it in and just kind of sitting in the back and watching the magic happen.
Yeah, it was really cool. I've never really been kind of in a situation where there was all this music being produced and like at such crazy speeds, and everybody's just like throwing ideas off the wall and how they're expanding off of the music and how they're getting everything kind of like set up for these big artists. And so it was really cool to be in the mix of all of it, and then kind of bounce ideas back of each other, and then kind of just listen to all of the art that's being created. And so it was really cool to be able to be in the environment, because these guys hustle, like they work hard. And so it's really cool how one of them was like whiteboarding every single thing that they're going to check off and everything. Like they're doing this, and they were supposed to produce only 2 songs. Well, those 2 songs got done, and now like the artist asked for another one. Well, they went above and beyond and just decided to do an extra one just so that they could have that much more kind of exposure, because they loved the first 2 songs.
Yeah, and that what's so cool about it too is that today's lunch and just the conversations that we've been having with them here at Studio 110.live's headquarters the last couple days, they get it. Like they ultimately asked me, what I wanted for the show, and I was, I'm a very off the air, I'm a very direct type of guy, and I say it the way it is, and I told them exactly what I wanted. And today at lunch, it's already being crafted. They already kind of, I told them, I said, I can't wait to see kind of some of the finished products that they're gonna be able to present to me, and ultimately I'll be able to present to the listeners and to the viewers here at Studio 110.live. So much props to Nick. I know they're gonna be I know either Nick or a couple of his guys will be coming by in the 2 o'clock hour And I'm looking forward to introducing them. And that's what, that's what I've been been preaching ultimately, that the show is reaching new standards. I mean, we have a crew of people now that have just taken it upon themselves. We didn't even, we didn't reach out to these people. I can tell you that right now. We did not reach out to these people. These people heard about the show. They heard about us, and we formulated a nice inner working relationship. And I'm excited to be able to see what what ultimately comes out of the lab in terms of what they're producing and making, and it'll definitely be a game changer. So just because I've done my homework and I know what these guys are about. All right, now switching topics, Erica. I know we have a little bit of time before our guests show up this afternoon. I wanted to kind of talk about, just because you handle a lot of this here for the show, just our key sponsorship opportunity here at Studio 110.live and FutureNet. And we haven't had, Ryan's been on several times, and he's talked about just the main huge build out for what he's continuing to build out and what he ultimately brought to America from an international level here. But if you could just kind of touch on FutureNet for me and everything that you've learned from it, because all the guests that come up, you talk to them and they're all super excited to be part of it and sign up. So let's first talk about just what it is, so people can hear it and understand it, and then let's kind of leverage and merge on to just what people have been sharing with you after the conversation that you've been having with the guests and just their thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'll just say that FutureNet, like in the beginning, I had a lot of questions about it, and there was a lot of things that I was like, well, how does this work, and how is this really going to be like the future kind of social media platform? So I really started to kind of understand that social media has such a large impact in people's lives and how they do their day-to-day lives and what gets seen and so on. So that's when I really started to understand, like, wow, social media has like the power of the people in a sense, right? Because that's where we voice our opinions. That's where we connect. That's where we talk. So with Facebook kind of going through kind of, these big issues, with
the privacy,
huge issues, we have decided that this is the best time for people to, really learn about FutureNet and what it has to offer, because it is the first encrypted and uncensored social network in the world. That's huge, especially for a lot of people, like, for example, Playboy, obviously because of, what they can post and all that.
Tesla Motors, I know, recently left Facebook.
Yeah.
Playboy left Facebook. A lot of
Will Ferrell, also the owner and founder of Apple. Yeah. Everybody, Elon Musk, everybody's leaving Facebook.
Yep.
And nobody wants to feel like they're watched over their entire, life and whatever, and what's going on in their day-to-day life.
Yep.
So that's why FutureNet has been able to really provide people with that sense of kind of security and knowing like your information is like safe here, you're not going to be listened and whatever. And I think it's just really awesome that what they did on top of that, on top of making a platform like that, is FutureNet strives to build people. They strive to build a community.
Yep.
So that's where really kind of the point of the idea behind kind of, how you make money is really, really important, because a lot of people who, started with nothing and they had no idea what they're going to do, they actually saw the potential that FutureNet had, and they started early, and that's like Ryan.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ryan, he was a smart person for realizing this was going to blast off.
And Ryan did very well in real estate.
Yeah.
And he wanted to he just wanted to try something new. He wanted to reinvent the wheel. He wanted to re-image his brand. And, he teamed up with the right people. And, one thing that I really respect and like about Ryan is very vocal. He puts out his personal cell phone number on there for people to reach out, that he ultimately wants to help them out. And a couple things that Ryan has said and stated many times here on the show is, he's made, right around $3 million, up to date just on one of his endeavors on this. And so you can see that, the proof's in the pudding. He shows, you and I, Erica, he shows us the numbers, on his computer in his office. His office is right across the hall here from the studio. And, you're doing something right, obviously, if you're rolling those types of numbers. And, it's just like you said earlier, it's giving back to the people.
It is.
Because people don't want to be jumping through these hoops, concerned about, the current past privacy setting issues on Facebook where people's information is being looked at. That's the last thing people want. I mean, who wants, you're sending someone, a picture that really is only supposed to be between you and that other person, or a text message or an email or whatever it is. I mean, that does still all fall under kind of the pretense of privacy settings,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
not, you want to feel secure. You want to feel secure in your house. You want to feel secure when you're on your phone.
Yeah.
That's why we have passwords on our phones so no one else can get into them.
Yep.
So carry on for me in terms of everything else that you've learned from FutureNet.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying in the I was just saying, FutureNet is really giving people the opportunity to make a permanent income. Imagine if your network was your net worth. That's
Yep.
how it is, really. You're getting paid back. This is the first Facebook. Technically, this is like the first reinvented Facebook that pays people back in Bitcoin, which is awesome because it's the new one. It's the future, hence FutureNet. But it really gives back to the community, and people are able to build teams and really be a community in a sense. Whereas a lot of platforms and a lot of like even MLMs, and they don't strictly focus on the community and the people, and this offers both the opportunity to connect and really be able to voice out what you want to say, your opinion, whatever, and then also the opportunity to build your community together, and then all build an empire and
Yep.
make money.
Yep.
So
And-
90%, if you thought about it, like 90% of that money that Facebook is making, imagine if that actually came back to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And talk about just how it's benefited you. I mean, how it's benefited you and just the rewards that you've seen personally from you setting up.
Yeah, so I have been with FutureNet for a few months, but I will say more than anything, the relationships that you form with these people, and kind of like you understand them on a deeper level. Like everybody that's coming to FutureNet, like we're literally a community.
Yeah.
But you're understanding that, this is not about like, oh, I'm going to be, placing this and that and whatever, and, I'm going to make more money. And no, it's honestly about like really making a difference and actually having an impact in like growing our community and being able to voice out what we want to say when we want to say it. And I think it's just really cool that we have, this platform for social network, which is huge. But it's great. All the benefits that it's offering people as far as like promoting, making sure that they are actually like engaging with other people. Cause everybody on the social network, there's about 2.5 million users, and everybody's connecting. And, it's just really cool to see a different social network where it's unlike anything you've seen. And there's people that are voicing what they want to say
And
without
Ryan-
having
yeah.
any restrictions.
And Ryan also preaches all the time too that I think Facebook, annually is making about $25 billion a year.
25
And
billion.
really not a lot of people are benefiting from that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're cashing in about $25 billion a year. So that's why Ryan, brought this new outlet to America for Americans to be able to, achieve ultimately the same dream that Ryan Conley has achieved for himself and his family. And we had a catered breakfast up here at Studio 110.live's headquarters a few weeks back, and one of Ryan's partners flew up here, and it was a really nice breakfast. There were some pretty big heavy hitters up here that day, and one of Ryan's partners shared this real cool direct testimonial with the crowd at breakfast, and I've talked about it a few times. There was a gal. And I think she was out of Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. She was out of Phoenix, and she was a Uber driver. And she was just kind of getting tired of driving Ubers, and just wasn't really having just wasn't liking her day-to-day lifestyle. She was getting frustrated and just was looking for that new outlet. Well, one of Ryan's business partners had the opportunity to meet with her and unveiled a few different things. One of them being primarily FutureNet. And now she's built up an empire for herself through her social tracking and through kind of her, ultimately a term that I use all the time, her human Rolodex, to be able to be making $5,000 a day roughly, which is pretty good. I mean, if you're doing 35 grand a week, I mean that's over 120 grand a month. You're doing something right. So. You see Ryan's talked about a lot of these stories, especially with his own parents, the position that he got them in. This gal down in Phoenix, there was a medical doctor up here a couple weeks ago who's also a big investor, and he's done quite well for himself. So, it's not something that, we're not, look, at the end of the day, we're not here to sell anybody on anything. We're not salespeople. We're just trying to be able to enlighten people and be able to spread the right messaging to people to ultimately be able to help them. Because, the more that we can help the people, whether it's playing artist songs on the air, whether it's fashion designers coming in to talk about their new collections, whether it's car people talking about new rollouts of 2019 vehicles, whether it's artists, this show is leveraging high levels of capabilities and just promising illustrations for all of these guests, and I'm hearing about it. These people are reaching out to me. They reach out to you. You keep me abreast of things, and it's just a really good feeling, especially when we have people like Ian. Shout out to Ian from Glass Distillery Vodka. You were in the studio with me that day when he said, hey, he said, Dirty Harry, I want you to come co-host the show with me down at my headquarters. And, of course, these other brands as well that have expressed interest that, we're not going to them. They're coming to us that, want to be part of the show. They see the brand that we built here and that we're continuing to build, and it feels good. So I just feel like it's a perfect alliance and a perfect connection and a perfect tie-in with FutureNet. Yeah. And is it correct? You just go to futurenet.club. Is that correct?
Yes, futurenet.club.
Okay. And is there a good kind of timeline on where people can go check out and be more educated in terms of what they need to do?
So if you guys want to be more educated, I would recommend actually personally asking somebody about FutureNet, because and you can definitely ask me. So my email is studio@studio110.live. Definitely feel free to ask me questions, because I am just as, informed and stuff like that as the internet. If you want to learn FutureNet, I would suggest maybe even talking, with Ryan, or just really reaching out to us. And that way we can kind of guide you and tell you, what happens in FutureNet and kind of how we're able to really progress things with a social network. So it's really great that social media is so... It's
powerful.
It's so powerful, but it also has such a strong ability to really reunite a community really reunite, honestly, the country, because
it's very vibrant.
It's very vibrant, yes.
And talk about just some of the guests that you've had an opportunity to speak to about it, and just kind of what they've said and just their excitement levels, because I know you talk to all the guests when they're bringing them up and taking them out.
Absolutely. So first of all, I want to say that, everybody is just as likely to have FutureNet as somebody that has a Facebook, right? Because FutureNet, everybody needs a social network, especially one, that can really be beneficial to your privacy and everything, that you want to feature, but also things that you don't want to. So, every guest that comes up, we've had a lot of different people come up of all different types of genres and all different types of companies and labels and brands, and people who just are working in a promoting or modeling setting or whatever. So everybody that comes up, we really want to make sure they include their branding and their image and kind of who they are. They include it on multiple levels of, kind of marketing.
Yep.
So FutureNet is able to really promote people and honestly bring them to kind of another platform of
a more clear understanding, a more direct pedestal platform that really can be designed for what they're ultimately trying to achieve and target within their social media avenues and networks. I mean, I think that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Rick Richter, that was great that he was up here.
Yep.
And he was talking about,
it's actually Mike Ricker, but no
Mike
problem.
Ricker.
Yep.
Mike Ricker.
Yep, Mike Ricker.
But he was absolutely just such a huge advocate of FutureNet, because he knows what potential and power, that social network has.
Yep.
And really the benefits that it can offer as far as, promoting people and really getting a big following, because we have a community we're building, and it's unlike, your typical social network. So
Yep. And let's talk about. I know he's going to be in here shortly. Mr. Martinez here.
Yes.
He's he's on that dance radio station headed up by my buddy John McDaniel from C89.5. Do you personally know him, or was he passed on to you from one of our sources that works with us here on the back end with the staff in alliance to get a lot of these guests here in the studio?
So actually, he's a friend of a promoter named Nolan, a friend of mine.
Okay.
And Nolan actually was going to be bringing him in, but
Okay.
So I mean, as far as Keto goes, he is a very talented artist, and he really focuses kind of on the EDM scene of things, and it's going to be exciting to meet him. It's definitely going to be exciting. Maybe we could do a collaboration. We could even have him, a few times or whatever. We want to do a featured, kind of a little thing with him or something like,
Yeah, because I'm excited because big shout out to my guys once again, the High Children, Jason and Jamal. They just got back recently from New York. They're heading out to Los Angeles tomorrow. They're on the road a lot, doing a lot of shows, doing a lot of appearances. They were already on Sway, DJ Sway's show out there at Sirius Satellite Radio. The chief out there. So, they're definitely doing it. They met with some key record executives out there on the East Coast this past trip out in New York City. And it was a very successful trip, and probably one of the most successful things that came out of this trip for my guys, the High Children, was inking a deal with Fan Stereo. Fan Stereo is a really cool headphone and a speaker brand that looks like the guys are going to be getting their own headphone brand. So looking forward to having them back here on the show, and I'm being told that we'll be able to give away some product here in the very near future, give away some headphones and some speakers. So that's just part of the giveaway chain that we're going to do. But I'm definitely going to speak to I think it's Keato Martinez. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name. Talking about my guys and talking about where kind of the dance music is at and where it needs to go, and the venues here in association with dance music here in the Seattle Bellevue Marketplace, where we broadcast the show from every day at studio110.live. I was actually just texting. Normally I don't text when I'm on the air, but it was important to me because, like I said, I'm all about giving back, especially when it comes time to artists and fashion people, and everybody's a collective effort. So once again, a shout out to Elena Mack on her song Chance. We did play it earlier in the show, but I figured, you know what? We have a little bit of downtime. We covered everything that I wanted to cover. I wanted to talk about FutureNet, and you did a good job explaining that, Erica. Thank you. And we talked about our new guys headed up by our Nick and his crew here, joining the forces of the team to work with us a lot on a lot of the back end stuff, but a lot of stuff that people will be able to hear. So I hit up Elena, and it definitely put a huge smile on her face knowing that we're about to play the song again for her. And so let's play it again for people that are just tuning in right now, because we always have new listeners tuning in at studio110.live. Follow us on our Instagram at studio110.live. We're going to play Chance right now. New music doesn't even come out till May 12th, but it's called the world premiere. Let's do it. We played it yesterday, played it already once today. Here's the second time. Here you go. And I don't know why I'm having so many technical issues today, but let's try to play this here again, and hopefully I'll play it. It worked perfectly earlier, but hey, live show, sometimes you have issues as they come up, but let's try to play here again. See if we can. Here we go. Elena Mack. It's called Chance. Studio 110.
Time to say goodnight. The lights are low, my city sleeps, and moon is all alone, singing about love, smiling with the ones who stay together. Why don't we take a chance and try to keep alive the spark that once was there, burning in our eyes with everything around, suggesting things like love don't last forever. I don't care, just take my hand. Let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I know that love is like a drug. with misery and joy that only we will share, and no one else can see. The future and the past belong to you and me, my love forever. I don't care, just take my hand. Let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I love you more with every day. Take my hand, let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I love you more with every day. I do, I love you more and more. Let's give this love a chance, love a chance. We'll keep it safe forever. Let's give this love just one more chance. I do love you more with every day. Why don't we take a chance?
Shout out to Elena Mack. It's called Chance. It doesn't even come out till May 12th, but she was on the big show yesterday and she gave me the opportunity to world premiere that song. She'll be having a big event coming up here in a couple weeks in Seattle. It's going to be there's going to be a silent auction. She's going to unveil the video, and there'll be hors d'oeuvres and wine, and it's going to be a great event. So I want to say it's $25 to get in. $35 if you put it off and wait, but you definitely don't want to do that. And I'm definitely going to get the Studio 110.live crew to come out and support this event from good old Elena Mack. So once again, shout out to her. Thank you for coming on the show yesterday, for allowing me to play the record, and I got great feedback from it. I got a couple phone calls last night on the way back home, so it was good. It was good to be able to get people to reach out and express their interest on her song. So big shout out once again to Elena and all the artists, man. Like I said, Mr. Miguel, my boy B. Miguel, who was on the show yesterday, and Sneaker Wars, and the jazz artist. And when I ask these artists these direct questions in terms of outlets that that are provided for them here in the Northwest to be able to come on and get on the air, and for people to be able to see them, since we have cameras in the studio, they always say there's none. So that's why I wanted to create this show, get back on the air, to be able to open those doors and those pathways for these artists that need the proper respect and introduction. And a lot of it is headed up from my boy DJ Nasty Ness down there in Los Angeles, who's really got his footprint and his pulse up here in the Northwest. He's from here. He always calls Seattle his home, even though he's down there running his operation down in Los Angeles now and doing the acting and doing all the speaking engagements and everything that he does on the TV side. So much love to you, DJ Nasty Ness. Continue to live on and be healthy, and all the best to you and your entire family. And I'm looking forward to getting you. I know you're supposed to be back up here in a couple weeks. I know you're watching. I know you're listening right now. So let's get you back up here. We've already had you on the show once via phone, and you did a great job of talking about our introduction and how everything kind of came about. But I want you in the studio here, and we'll get some artists in the studio when you're here, and we'll kind of open it up as a live on-air platform for you to be able to give your kind of techniques for an artist to either stay independent or get signed, or be able to acquire a good proper studio session, or to be able to get up on a lot of artists too. They've been so focused on being in the studio and really wanting to reach the highest levels and capabilities for putting that one song out, but they don't really have a lot of guidance and a lot of proper counsel in terms of being on stage to put a good stage performance on. So I've taken it upon myself as well with Nasty Ness and with all the guys out here in the Northwest to help those guys out, because you know what? I always kind of want to be thought of as, hey, Dirty Harry is the guy that really helps us out. There's also a show tonight going down at Nectar Lounge, and I have the info. We'll be talking about that later on in the show today. I want to give those guys a huge show on that, and that's that. So what else? What else do we got to talk about today? Oh, I want to shout out my boy Darren down at Zara. He's going to be coming on the show. He's one of the main guys with Zara here locally, and had a chat with him a couple days ago, and just kind of guy was able to kind of look at one of the lookbooks in terms of seeing the new kind of spring summer collection moving forward for product display that's going to be on display for spring and summer. So Zara definitely is coming out with some brand new looks that are quite sophisticated. That I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's resembling what kind of Givenchy kind of left off, and Zara's kind of mimicking their own version, and some Saint Laurent stuff. So it'll be good to get Darren on to talk about that. What else? Joe from Nordstrom's. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, and we're going to get Joe back in to talk about what's going on with Nordstrom's and some new unveilings for some new brands, like Topman is kind of going. Topman and Topshop apparently are going to be going in some really funky new directions. So it'll be good to get these fashion people on, and Dawn from Donna Matrix, and just all the different fashion brands that have been on throughout the show here, and that are going to continue to be on. So I'm definitely excited about that. Other shout outs that we need to give a big shout out to D Sonoram from 300 Entertainment in New York City, and my boy John at Atlantic Records in New York. Looking forward to getting these guys. Jamie Adler, shout out to Jamie Adler. I'm working with Jamie Adler right now. I guess Snoop Dogg, I'm hearing, will be coming to the Northwest down at the Showwear Center in the next couple weeks, and it'll be good to get. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Snoop to call in and or stop by. I put requests in. I've reached out to Snoop to be able to do that, and be able to maybe give away some tickets. Maybe even do potentially a live broadcast from the venue. Every time Snoop comes here, I always enjoy hanging with him before he hits the stage. And most of the time when Snoop's up here, if you don't know Snoop, Snoop is definitely a huge NFL fan, and he always surrounds himself every time he comes up here with a lot of Seahawks players. So usually you feel like the real 12s are coming out of existence when Snoop Dogg comes up here, because you've got a lot of players in the dressing room with him, and it's a good old time. Like between Snoop and Snoop's crew, and Corrupt and Daz and all the guys associated with the Snoop Dogg brand. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Like I've always said, I don't feel there's a better artist out there that puts on a better stage set than Snoop Dogg. He really continues to do it. He continues to reinvent himself. He reinvents himself on multiple tips, on his new production, on the sound of his records, on his stage performance, and like I always say, man, continuous rest in peace to Uncle Junebug, his uncle that used to travel with him. I know it's been some time, but I continue to miss seeing Junebug up on stage, when I've seen Snoop, not only in the Seattle market, but I've seen him in other markets as well, in California and Vegas and down in Denver. And, he just, when people always say, Dirty Harry, who's your favorite artist to be able to witness a live performance? I always say Snoop Dogg. He owns the crowd, and it's just one of those feel-good shows that if you haven't been to a Snoop Dogg concert, you gotta come and see Snoop Dogg. I want to say it's coming up in a couple weeks. I don't have the exact dates. I think it's the 21st, and I believe it's at the ShoWare Center. And then speaking of events, definitely we got a big announcement we're going to be making on the show tomorrow. Tomorrow is what I'm being told, in the afternoon around 3 o'clock. If I have the clearance here from my guys here, they're working on a lot of behind the scenes activities here at Studio 110.live. So I'm super excited to make this announcement. It's big. It's big, and it definitely reminds me. I'm not going to give any details away, but it reminds me of previous Summer Jam announcements. It reminds me of Summer Jam announcements, but I'm not going to give any other details away other than you won't want to miss it. You're definitely going to want to get what you need to get early so you don't miss out on it, because the people that are coming don't come up here every day. Let's just put it like that. And we're very competitive. That's one thing that I always stand by and believe in all around is, you got to be competitive, and you got to know what the competitors do. And, we're in the business here to just smash all over those guys. I mean, you just got to smash all over the competition. And I don't even think there is any competition. When I always kind of think as the competition is the competition, but there's really no competition left, anywhere, in the market that I broadcast the show from, in the Seattle, Bellevue market. There's other wonderful shows, that I want to attach my brand to, nationally. And I know there's, a couple other smaller, shows, around here in the Northwest where people are doing shows. And, look, reach out to me, man. Like, I'm always been a giving type of guy. If there's an opportunity for me to, join your guys' shows, I'm all about it. We're going to be doing quite a few of these actually here in my studio here at on the 33rd floor of the building that we broadcast from down here in downtown Bellevue, Washington. And we're in the heart of the tech community here. We're in the heart of the tech community here, and we do Tech Tuesdays, and we've had some great people on Tech Tuesdays, and we got some really amazing people coming up. We've got the father of the Xbox coming in. I can't wait to interview him, man, just to talk about the Xbox. And there's so much to talk about with the Xbox in terms of just where it's going and where it started to where it's at right now, and new capabilities and new just construction elements going into the Xbox. And we had, of course, we had this 14-year-old kid with his father in a couple weeks ago. And he's at 14 years old. He's like mastering the whole online sports gaming. Like, this guy is unbelievable. I think this kid's going to end up going to Harvard or Yale or, one of these Ivy League schools, just because, he's been able to do what most people can't do in their lifetime by 14 years old. So shout out to a lot of the people that have come in on the show on Tech Tuesdays. And it's been great. Who else do we got to shout out? Oh, we got to shout out our buddies on the VR side. We've teamed up with a company here, and VR technology. And believe me, I'm not a technology wizard in the least, but I know enough to feel comfortable to talk about it. And there's a gentleman here who's got a team of people. He's got a company here on the east side, and their specialty is virtual reality technology. That's kind of where everything is continuing to emerge to. And normally it's about $10,000 to create a VR image, and they were very excited to create a Dirty Harry VR image that's currently in the works. That normally would cost anybody $10,000. That they're doing especially for me. It's doing especially for me on the show that I'll be unveiling. So super excited about that. And I figured, if a lot of these guys from like Diego, shout out to Alejandro from Diego, the nicest retail cannabis shop here in the Northwest down there on 4th Avenue. they've got like an $80,000 marijuana bong that's going to be on display through their illustration and through their kind of their branding efforts down there at Diego. So you're not going to want to miss that. So like I said, I mean, it's really cool to see what people are doing, especially and I know I just kind of transitioned from VR to cannabis, but you know what? They really do kind of mesh up appropriately together at the end of the day. So it's definitely very exciting to see what people are doing here for the show. And man, I mean, $10,000 is nothing to joke about at the end of the day. And I know, Erica, you're working with them on the side to see when we'll be able to unveil that. And it's quite a big deal. So my first in studio guest. I don't want to. If you can come close to the mic here for me.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself here for me.
Hi, my name's Keanu Martinez.
Keanu. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
That's easy to get wrong.
Yeah, because you're it's right here. Is this your? This must be your bio, but it says Keato.
Yeah, so that's wrong. It'd be an N instead of
No problem.
Keano.
There you go. So it's Keanu Martinez.
Correct.
Cool. Well, welcome to the show. So you can relate to everything that you're witnessing right now, because you're also a fellow radio personality on the dance side of the industry.
Right. Yeah. So I do a radio show on Thursday nights. So 11 p.m. tonight on 89.5 FM, which
Cool.
is all dance music.
Well, I know your boss, John McDaniel. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I've known him for quite a long time, and he's done monumental things with that brand. He just continues to reinvent the wheel and just reconstruct C89. It's a legendary radio station here in Seattle, and it's definitely was designed to be able to help students that want to learn the art of communication, that want to learn the art of broadcasting. And is that how you got into it?
Yeah, exactly.
If you can just come closer to the mic here, thank you.
Yeah. So I went to Nathan Hale High School, which is where it's based out of, which is in Lake City,
right?
So northeast Seattle.
Yep.
And yeah, I took an intro to radio class and went into advanced radio, and then started, taking on more of a production side and running part of the course for the other students, and
Great.
Moved on from there.
And so, how many years then have you been at the station?
Since 2006.
Oh, so you've been there a while.
Yeah.
You've been there a while. Great. How are things going overall at good old C89.5?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And where do you want to, what's the next platform for you to emerge so you're on there once a week in the evenings?
Yeah, once a week, and I focus on sort of the style of music that I DJ and I promote shows for, which is bass-heavy electronic music. I really do like hip-hop influenced bass music.
Okay.
And so that's kind of just where I'm going with it. I do I help run Wednesday nights. It's Substance Wednesdays over at Foundation Nightclub.
Yep.
And just other more behind the scenes stuff for Foundation and different USC events.
Yep.
I do CO2 and SFX pyro stuff for events, and so
Yep.
that's kind of the angle I'm going at the moment, just doing the DJ career and then more behind the scenes.
Cool. And kind of walk me through the process, because I've heard about it, but I've never been on kind of the education side of how it works for you students to be able to learn the art of broadcasting and take the communication classes to be able to adapt that in terms of everything that you've learned to be able to get on the air. So talk about, just kind of walk me through it from the early beginning stages and how much you really had to do till you were able to kind of put your headphones on and pop the mic up for the first time.
Yeah, so it's half of the year you're taking the intro course, which you have to pass the FCC rules and regulations test, and you learn about just the do's and don'ts, and what you're gonna be doing on the air before you ever get to a mic in a studio. And then
and what's the time frame on that, though, roughly? I mean, how much time is that in terms of what you just mentioned, in terms of preparing for the exam, taking the exam, learning about the FCC and everything that you need to do to be able to do your first show?
So this would have been a long time for me, so I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Because it was a while ago, but that was the first half of the school year that you're doing this, and that test I wouldn't have expected more than a month really focusing on those rules and preparing for that test.
Sure, sure. And what's kind of your next launching pad in terms of, do you want to, what is radio something that you want to continue to be in, or is this just kind of?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the long term for you.
Definitely, yeah.
So do you want to?
I've been doing my radio show since 2010.
Right.
And so it's been on for 8 years, and there's not really another station that I've seen that I'm able to have the freedom and play the music that I want to feature, and really electronic music, bass heavy electronic music.
I mean, the closest thing really is Don Yates' station called KEXP.
Right, and they're doing some really cool things as well.
Yeah.
And you'll hear some drum and bass on there and other styles of electronic music during some features.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I know. Kid Hops, he's on that as well.
Yep.
And so he's doing cool stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, and I mean that's public radio. There's not a lot of formats people can do that.
Sure.
But it's become sort of commercial music now. So you're hearing electronic music all over the place.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I can tell you from my former radio station called Cube 93, I was there for 19 years. So I was there for 19 years, and I mean, you might be able to understand and relate to my next question here for you. Do you see, because the show that I'm building out here currently as a live podcast show is really the wave of the future in terms of the future for radio. In your kind of humble professional opinion, are you concerned about just recent declines that you've been seeing in radio in general, where whether it's listenership or people's habits have definitely changed? People aren't in their car flipping through the dial like they used to. I mean, that's a fact,
Well, I think this is something that people have been saying for a long time, and, it's definitely not new. It's, I mean, there's been radio freakouts for years, like, oh, everybody's, not going to listen. Obviously people are, plugging in their USBs in their cars now and, checking out other things, but it's definitely gone to a more online, podcast format, different, going different angles. But the thing with C89.5 as well is just, because it's listener based and it's really built a community behind that
Sure.
to, support an all dance music radio station, non-commercial, and then, just for the students, it kind of has an edge where people stay locked in for years and keep the support.
Yeah, they do.
But so for me, I'm not sure that's necessarily a worry at the moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, you're continuing to still build up your brand and your awareness. How does John McDaniel, the ringleader, the program director over there, how does he say your show is doing? I mean, I know there's multiple ways and systems to be able to track. You can track, on the radio side of the conversation, because I'm quite familiar with it.
Right.
You can track, when people are tuning in and when they're switching around and how long they're listening and their favorite songs, and all that's just, at the pulse of your fingertips these days with technology. So, does he say your show is, performing well?
Definitely, and that's the cool thing with some of these late night shows we have, because they are featured around a certain more underground or subgenre of electronic music. Like my show, or like the Vortex, for example. Drew Bailey had been doing his show for years, and these shows get a lot of support and just a continual listenership, because it's got something where you just can't find it anywhere else. I play some really, more grimy, harder, styles of electronic music, and so those listeners come back for that.
There you go. And what's kind of like your ultimate dream for radio? I mean, is it kind of holding down a morning drive show, a night show, afternoon show, 5 days a week plus kind of a featured weekend show? I mean, what's kind of your time stamp and pulse in terms of your brand, and kind of where radio is ultimately going for your brand?
Yeah, I mean, I like keeping my focus on the styles of music that I'm featuring, but I have thought a lot about syndicating, and so I think that's the next step in kind of a possible end game.
Yep.
But it can always build and grow. But keeping the show a weekly feature, but getting it in more places, which I think would be really cool.
And what do you do to promote your show? Do you do the fun Instagram, videos before you hop on the studio, or put it on Facebook. Hey, it's my hour to shine here on a
Right.
weekly basis. And you take calls.
Yes, we take calls and texts, and people can contact through that way. So I can do requests for the first hour. I do 1 hour of new local music, and then requests, and then I do the second hour. I feature a local DJ or possibly an international headliner or somebody like that who
Yeah.
maybe was coming through town. But yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
What was that question again?
Well, no, I wanted to ask how how do you normally prepare for your show? I mean, in terms
Yeah.
of how Instagram is surpassing Facebook in terms of, I mean, it's nothing to nothing to hide behind the curtain about. I mean,
Right.
we do a lot of it here at Studio 110.live. It's it's a good way to connect, obviously, with your fan base and your listeners. Whether you're maybe playing or debuting a new song on your show that people need to hear. I mean, I would think that you're already doing that, but
Yes, but actually minimally on Instagram, which is to my fault. I really need to start using Instagram more. I use Facebook a lot, and I'll use Instagram here and there. But
So John
yeah,
John McDaniel isn't like having you guys sit down in the office and say like, hey, if you guys are air talent on my radio station, get those IG numbers up and make IG your best friend if you're a radio host, right? I'm sure he
Definitely.
preaches that, knowing John. So
For sure.
there you go. I want to kind of tie in a personal experience with C89, the station that you're on Thursday nights. You may be familiar with my guys, the High Children, Jason and Jamal. I talked to John, called John a couple weeks ago, and asked John if he would give these guys a spin and start playing them on the radio, and he did. And now it's being played about 5 times a day. It's about 26 spins a week, so it's
Wow.
performing well. It's also going to be going to KEXP, Don Yates over there. So if you ever have an opportunity to play my boys, the High Children, the song is called "Hold Up."
Okay.
And definitely spike that into rotation on your playlist on those weekly Thursday nights on your radio show.
I'll check it out.
Well, and I'm sure the guys would be happy to stop by your show. We'll probably have to clear that through John, but I'm sure they'd be happy to stop by your show on Thursday nights when you're in the studio, and maybe even do a live set on the air.
be
Take
cool.
it up a couple notches. So, what have you learned about the radio business? From your first show until now. I mean, obviously it's evolved a ton. I mean, that goes without saying. But in terms of just the evolution of radio, let's kind of talk about where the dance music comes into play as you being a radio personality, and the changes that you're continuing to see on that forefront.
Right. Well, it's really interesting because when I was first getting promotional emails from different labels, I was getting linked in through the station. It was all very more poppy and not necessarily something I was very interested in. And now everything's gone to this trap and more bass heavy or leaning electronic music, and definitely a lot more hip hop influenced. So very very popular. But I've just on a smaller note, looking through my emails, I'll actually pick up these these emails I would ignore and find music that I'm definitely interested in, and that's along with electronic music, along with dance music and radio for that. I just have been hearing the music really just
Evolving.
yeah and just come to the mainstream.
Yeah. Where do you feel like in terms of like the dance community here, in Seattle, Bellevue, where we broadcast from? What do you feel we could work on as a top 15 music market in the country? I mean, there's about I think 362 last time I checked. But what do you feel in your opinion? Because I mean,
We're spoiled. We are spoiled for electronic music. We are absolutely just dominating most places, and I think most people take it for granted. Just even a year ago, we weren't booking, the amount of talent we are these days, and it's insane. I mean, you're seeing just artists blowing up, just incredibly fast. Just from a foundation point of view, artists who, we'd have over in the club, one year later, they're outgrown that and they want, main stage, bookings over at the Gorge. They're going to run, multiple sold out shows over at Showbox. And yeah, we're just nonstop every single week. It's insane. So, do we have places to grow with this? I think so. I think a lot of people are coming in and checking out electronic music for the first time and going out to, a club or a rave or whatever, they choose to listen to the music in, and they're hearing it for the first time. And so after they go out for a while, they're going to check more of the, underground shows, go out to Monkey Loft, go check out, something that isn't necessarily what, you're going to hear on the radio or,
Do you
right off the
DJ at
bat.
all? Do you DJ at all?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Where do you spin at locally?
So I'm a resident DJ over at Foundation Nightclub.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been down there a few times. I like Foundation. How's Foundation doing?
Oh, it's doing
I haven't
great.
been down there in a while, so I continue to hear good things about it. So down there on Western, right?
Yep.
Western Avenue. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to remember what it used to be called. Years ago, it used to be called.
It was Medusa,
Right.
and it was one other.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What nights do you DJ down there?
So I run Wednesday nights with Alex Bosey, and so I primarily spin on Wednesdays, but every once in a while I'll spin on a Friday or a Saturday. But that's usually focused around if it's a more bass heavy headliner.
Do you hit that on the air during your show on a weekly campaign? Are you allowed to hit it? Do they let you hit that on the air over there or no?
Well, so it being a commercial-free public radio station, there's certain ways and in ways I'm not supposed to be talking about my own shows and things I
Yeah,
make profit off of.
Yeah.
So that's actually something I have to hold back from.
Yeah. That's another reason why I nothing against commercial radio in the least, and I think C89, and believe me, it's in its own respected platform. But on a live podcast like this, I can do I can do whatever I want. I mean, there's a lot of things that I won't do, but I don't have people running in saying it needs to be said like this, or you got to follow these copy points, or make these sets of people happy. It's just like there's certain things I just don't miss about it. Neither do a lot of people. I mean, so that's just kind of the name of the game. But I'm gonna have to come down there and check out one of your nights at Foundation on a Wednesday night. There's not much going on in Seattle on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, it seems like there's a couple more popping up, which is interesting. It seems like a bunch of clubs are trying to do all ages, or 18 plus or 16 plus again.
Yeah.
And I know with Studio 7, having the issues with their alcohol.
Well, they got shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so they're still open, but they just can't serve alcohol right now. So
Well, yeah, in terms of the bar got shut down.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so on Wednesdays, talking about Wednesdays,
Yeah.
I guess they're doing like an 18 plus night, possibly 16 plus. But there's a couple things popping up on Wednesdays.
Cool.
But definitely Foundation's doing it next level.
I mean, it must feel good and I'm sure you get it all the time, that when you're walking in and out of the DJ set at Foundation, people probably come up to you, hey man, I like your show, I like the music that you play, and stuff like that, and that must feel good, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are some songs that you're playing on your weekly show that you like, that you can talk about? Like what's your in your kind of human Rolodex / human playlist? What are some of your top 5 songs?
So I'm a big supporter of Bass Nectar, and so off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure. Boombox is a great song.
Yep.
There's just so many. Rusko has some great music, and it was it's been awesome seeing him put out some new songs since he beat cancer and got back into playing out. But yeah.
Well, I'll do a little trade-off with you. Normally, I don't do this too often, but since you've come on my show, I'm all about giving back. So if you ever would like me to, I will stop by the station on a Thursday night and hop on with you. I'm sure John would be open arms to that.
Definitely.
And come by. And I don't think I've seen your guys' newest studios. I hear they're pretty nice.
Yeah, it's amazing, especially because I came up through it being in this top floor in a corner. Looked like,
Yeah.
like a closet studio.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it remodeled to a $1 million facility.
Yeah.
It looks incredible. We've
Yeah.
got like three on-air studios, and then I think 6 production. And yeah, it's just a much bigger space.
What do you guys use for your, not to get super technical here, but do you guys use FoxPro? You guys use the FoxPro software to record and be your main
Yes.
editing device?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you like that?
Yeah. I like Vox Pro. I mean, I've been using it since I started. So,
Yeah. Did it take you a while to learn the techniques? And for some people, it takes them a long time to learn the editing software in FoxPro.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a controller for it, so it's pretty.
They gave me,
you know.
I used a standardized keyboard when I used to, edit interviews and callers and stuff. And it was fun. You'd be able to take a 20-minute interview down to 40 seconds if you wanted to. You'd just be able to just cut and splice. And I tell you, that damn thing was like my best friend during the show. Like I was almost doing it in my sleep. Like, just sometimes both hands on multiple keyboards. And I told the staff here that I didn't need one for the kickoff, but we're gonna get one of those in here. What do you think of my studio here? It's
I like it.
Yeah.
No, this is nice. It's sleek.
yeah, it's it's definitely what I need. It's definitely a good talk show, live podcast studio, and good quality mics. And had my couple of my engineers from the former station come here and build it out. And boy, they were under the timestamp. They started constructing this Monday morning, and they pretty much almost had to work around the clock, multiple guys, to get me up and going for my first show, which was Sir Mix-a-Lot. Sir Mix-a-Lot was in here with me, and with Sir Mix-a-Lot, he doesn't really do any interviews, so
Yeah.
it had to be ready to go. So I did whatever I had to do, providing coffee and some donuts and whatever I needed to do to make sure that we were up and running. So once again, if you're just tuning into Studio 110.live, it's always nice to have a fellow radio personality who represents C89.5, Keanu Martinez. You can check out his show Thursday nights, 11 o'clock. How long is the show?
It's 2 hours, so 11 to 1.
11 to 1.
Yep.
And us radio folks always say that we always do our shows live, even though we do have capabilities to pre-record shows. That's
a secret, though.
It's a secret. It's called. Do you guys call it voice tracking in your neck of the woods? Yeah.
Yes, voice tracking, or if I just pre-produce the show and send in a whole file. Then,
Yeah. So, and I'm sure you make it sound live, even if you're at your house laying in bed listening to yourself on the radio, right? I mean,
Many times I've done that.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So you just got to do what you got to do. And shout out to John McDaniel. I don't even honestly know how many years he's been there. He's been there a long time.
Long time. He was a student there.
Yeah.
And he went out and he worked for Move-In, I think, and then I don't know, maybe some other places. But yeah, came back. So he's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about people who went there, and your old station, Eric Powers.
Yeah, Eric Powers, my former counterpart. Eric Powers went there, and a couple other people went there, and a lot of people's careers have flourished from the good old C89.5 days. It's a legendary dance station, and I would imagine it must feel good, especially come like summertime. In Seattle, summertime in Seattle, it's got its own vibes and just it feels good. Just kind of, you know what I mean. Like you go on the air in the summertime, you're playing dance music, up tempo, people are feeling good. It must have kind of a different constructive feeling than playing it on a snowy night, right? I mean, with
Definitely.
dance music. So, big shout out again to my guys, the High Children, Hold Up. It's being played about 25 spins a week, and for someone like yourself, and that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good to be being played, and people can reach out and they can request the song. They can call into your show. What's the number that they call into your show to request Hold Up by the High Children?
It's 206 421-8989.
Yeah. I was 421-9393. So, I mean, I would literally wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes thinking, okay, 421-9393, 421-9393. Because, you get it, man. You get it. Sometimes you just have to just continue to, pull out the phone numbers and the call letters and, especially like for big events coming up. I'm sure John brings in one sheets into the studio and says, like, this is what you guys are going to be talking about for the next month. So, I totally get it. What are some ways that people can reach out to you to ask a question, or maybe they're working on a dance record and they want to get it played. I mean, I play a lot of music on my show, but since you're in here with me, let's give out the proper ways for people to reach out to you.
I'm very, very quick to respond on Facebook, so that's a great way to find me. I've got my DJ page, Keano. It's just /DJ Keano, so
okay.
Keano.
Okay.
And, yeah, you can just message me on Facebook, and that's a great way to go. I've got my email on there as well.
Can I give that out, or?
Yeah, it's just Keano Martinez at gmail.com, or I've
Cool.
got the C8951 as well.
Cool. So people can reach out to you at either Keano Martinez at Gmail, and maybe they're an up and coming, student or just trying to, be more connected into the dance scene here in the Seattle Bellevue metropolitan market. And
right. And even, up and coming DJs who want to spin out, because I do local bookings and, do a handful of events. I've been running a production company called Trapped Productions.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
And so a buddy of mine who is doing a Get Active Entertainment, Justin, he goes by Justin, truth be told. We've recently put together a local love show.
Okay.
And so trying to feature just a whole bunch of the local Pacific Northwest talent. And so the last show we did was over at Club Sur, and we're going to have some more coming up, and then we're going to be doing more of like a festival style event during the summer. So,
Great.
yeah,
That's what I like to hear, man. I mean, we need more events out here. We need more ways that people can come out and, feel good, because people have enough going on in their lives that they need to be able to come out and feel good. And I can see it gradually stepping up into higher platforms. I definitely see it, because I hear about it, and I host a lot of these events as is. Going to begin on the mic tonight at Nectar Lounge for my guys down there, and we'll be talking about that more this hour, and that's that. So cool. Keano Martinez, a radio personality at good old C89.5. John McDaniel station. Shout out to John McDaniel and the whole staff out there for really opening up new pathways and new ways for students, because there's really not a lot of opportunities here locally to be able to capture their dreams. And for a lot of people's dreams today are to become radio hosts. I mean, I honestly years ago didn't think I was going to fall into this line of work, but I did, and I couldn't be happier that I did it. It served me well, and I've been able to give back and be able to utilize my talent, something that I feel I'm pretty darn good at, hosting a show, and done a few of them under my career. So, I wish you all the best, all the continuous success to you, and to you performing at Foundation and your production company. Any shout outs that you want to give to anybody out there listening right now?
Yeah, just shout out to USC Foundation. Brinkage got a Filth Fest coming up, and just everyone over at C89.5, and everyone who's supported me along the way, and yeah.
That's great. In addition to just your weekly club appearances, like we talked about at Foundation and these other venues, what are some events coming up that we can talk about that you're excited about? I know you touched on a few of them, but
so I'll be playing this coming Wednesday over at Foundation. It's Bleep Bloop is headlining with supporting Ethan Glass, and so that should be a cool show. It's trap music, but it's more of the weirder end of bass, which is always fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other events that we should be talking about, or?
There's just so many. Of course, I represent Substance Wednesdays and Foundation, so any week for that. But yeah, obviously this summer is jam-packed. Bass Canyon is happening over at the Gorge, which is Excision Zone Festival, and USC with Paradiso has probably the most diverse and one of the coolest lineups I've seen in a long time for Paradiso over at the Gorge. So there's a lot going down even just at the Gorge. And then, of course, again, Local Love, look for that one because that'll be my company doing that.
Your company doing what? What are you going to be? Talk about what you're going to be doing again this summer.
Oh yeah, so Local Love is the show we've been doing, and so that's going to turn into a festival we're going to announce hopefully here soon.
Cool.
In the summer, yeah. So that looking into like June, but
cool because we used to do our the former radio station our yearly summer jam concerts, and that was out at the Gorge every year. 22,000 people, and I just remember talking to a lot of the artists like 50 Cent and Beyonce backstage in their dressing rooms, and they said it was just the nicest venue that they could have ever possibly performed at. And they remember it too, like when you run into these people years down the road and you just kind of reacquaint them and pick up the last conversation, they'll say, oh, I remember performing at that venue called the Gorge in Eastern Washington. And it's just like we're pretty fortunate and lucky that we have a venue like that. I mean, if you haven't been to the Gorge before, I mean, how would you describe it?
It's just beautiful, that view, standing over on top of the hill, looking at the stage, and then just
seeing the Columbia River and seeing people jet ski down there and water ski, and people are just sitting on their boats, hearing the music projected off the cliff top, and
it's definitely surreal for a lot of people.
It is because when you if you're coming from Seattle or wherever you're going, and you're going on I-90 East, and you just 2.5, 3 hours, you're just going and going and going, and then you just obviously get off the exit, and then you just go down this long 2-lane road, and then at the end of the road, you just see it. It's just like for people like that don't even really know that it's there. Unfortunately, a lot of people that just drive by there they're missing out on so much just because it's like I would recommend if people have the opportunity just to be able to see it on off dates when there's actually not a production going down to the Gorge, just to be able to take it in because it's amazing. I mean, I've never seen a nicer venue than the Gorge. So summer jams were a lot of fun, and I know Paradiso, and I know Dave Matthews, and I know a lot of groups still are out there, and it's an experience. I mean, they've got that new resort right next to the Gorge. It's called Cave B, and it's a hotel there, and a lot of people stay there now, and they've got like these outside rooms that are like designed like in the desert. They've got like these I don't know the exact walls that they created, but they have like these since it's so hot, like this like a nest almost, and they kind of zip up from the top all the way down, and that's how you kind of get in and out. But I never felt really comfortable staying in one of those. I always wanted to actually stay in a real room inside. But man, shout out to everybody that works so hard out of the Gorge to put on these top-notch productions. Are you going to go to any shows? I mean, obviously Paradiso. Any other shows on the docket that you're going to go out there to?
Yeah, so it's just that I was looking at Base Canyon and Paradiso, but that would be real cool to check out. Like a good rock lineup out there and kind of get a different feel for the Gorge, because I haven't done that.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to Sasquatch before. So
really,
yeah. And
what were your thoughts and opinions on that bad boy?
I mean, I'd still love to. It's
yeah.
But
what's been your favorite show that you've gone to so far that you can remember and think about and talk about?
Burning Man.
Burning Man. Yep. What was it about Burning Man that just gave you that lifelong experience that you'll be able to share with many people down the road, either on the air or off the air?
It's just an incredible experience, and kind of just not really comparable to anything else.
Yeah. Have you been to South by Southwest?
I haven't. No.
Yeah, that's something you definitely want to check out. Put that on the bucket list. Any other shout outs that you want to give to anybody before we transition here to the next order of business on the show?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Just, keep it locked tonight, 11 p.m. for my show on 89.5 FM. And
I'd like a shout out. I'd like a shout out if I can hear. Tell me the exact time that I should be listening.
So yeah,
11. 12:52 towards the end of the show. You'll rub it in, or what time could I expect a shout out?
A shout out. I'll get you a shout out within the first hour, within the first 30 minutes.
There you go. There you go. Erica will give you my phone number, and I'll be tuning in. And I want to hear that you had such a in your own words, obviously, but that you had a great time on Dirty Harry's Studio 110 live show today, and I'll listen, and I'll put it on my social as well. That my new buddy on the dance side of the business, Keanu Martinez, who represents C89.5. What's the name of your show on Thursday nights?
It's called The Basement.
The Basement.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with The Basement? How'd you come up with the name?
It's bass music.
Oh, okay.
Basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of natural.
Yeah. There you go. It's a good proper fit.
Yeah.
So there you go, man. All continue success to you, man, and to your brand, and keep the show headed in the right place for you and everybody at C89.5. And
thank you.
Let's get you back in here in the next couple weeks, month or so, and we can talk about some new things that you're working on that you're working on for your show and your brand. And I'm sure there's always things to talk about. So,
always, yeah.
So thanks for coming in. And Erica, if you want to have Keanu, if he wants to, he can sit in the green room, or he can hang out here in the studio. We got a little bit while longer here before we close out the show. But since I'm in that type of mood today, I'm gonna play some more. I'm gonna play some more music, just because that's what I'm about here. And I figured, when people reach out and say that it made that it definitely put a smile on their face to hear their music and their song being played at Studio 110 Live, we will play it again. So once again, shout out to Elena Mack. Her song is called Chance. It doesn't even come out till May 12th, but that's the power of this show here at Studio 110 Live, to be able to debut and play music for local artists that are just trying to get their dreams accomplished and sustained on stages and on multiple platforms. She's got an event coming up that you should definitely be supporting. There'll be a silent auction there. She was in the studio yesterday. She'll continue to come back in. So let's show her some more love, because that's the mood that I'm in today, to play music on the show. Normally I'm a talk show based show, but when there's artists that come in and I like their music, we will do it. Here's Elena Mack, Chance, Studio 110 Live.
It's time to say goodnight. The lights are low, my city sleeps, and the moon is all alone, singing about love, smiling with the ones who stay together. Why don't we take a chance and try to keep alive the spark that once was there, burning in our eyes with everything around, suggesting things like love don't last forever. I don't care, just take my hand. Let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I know that love is like a drug, with misery and joy that only we will share. And no one else can see the future and the past belong to you and me, my love forever. I don't care, just take my hand. Let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I love you more with every day. Take my hand, let's dance the night away with music and the stars. They know much more than you and I can ever say. This night is ours, whatever is ahead. I love you more with every day. I do, I love you more and more. Let's give this love a chance, love a chance. Can keep it safe forever. Let's give this love just one more chance. I do love you more with every day. Why don't we take a chance?
Brand new music right there from Elena Mack. It's called Chance. We debuted that hot record, man. Normally, I'll be honest. Normally, it wouldn't be just on a personal level, wouldn't be a record that I would be jamming out to in my car or at the house. But I played it yesterday, and it happens to be a song that I really like. And I'm going to be helping Elena ultimately get the song played at hopefully some upcoming fashion shows around the Pacific Northwest, and that's what I do. I mean, I'm sure you're also in the similar business to. I'm having problems on that microphone. I apologize, but I'm sure my buddy Keanu's in that business of helping other people out as well. If you just want to say a quick yes, because I'm.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's there you go. We got to get our engineers to do something on that microphone because I do not like the way that microphone sounds. So that would changed up this afternoon. All right. Before we close out the show, I wasn't going to have him on today with me, but I figured, you know what, we got to give him kind of a little sneak peek, a little proper introduction to my buddy Nick here, and one of Nick's guys here, Brennan from Zima Marketing. I had the opportunity to meet Nick a few days ago up here at Studio 110.Live's headquarters. And we just we were introduced from Ryan Conley, our main show sponsor from FutureNet.Club. And anytime Ryan brings people up here or makes proper introductions, it's definitely something to be, to wrap your head ultimately around. So I was excited when, Ryan, Nick gave me kind of your background and told me about you. And you and I just kind of started to talk, and you were familiar with who I am and my past and my past show and past radio station, and we've been having a couple conversations. We had lunch today with you and I and a couple of the other members of your team. But just tomorrow, you guys have some pretty cool announcements that you'll be making live on the air. But I did kind of touch earlier on the show about you guys coming on board to work with me and the staff here at on the show, my show producer Erica, and everybody here at Studio 110.Live. So Nick, just a quick warm introduction and a hello to you. Thanks for coming in this afternoon, and I appreciate everything that you've got up your sleeves. I hear from my team here that you've got some surprises and some things that you're ultimately constructing with you and members of your team to ultimately make, it already is, but to continue to make Studio 110.Live a household name here, in the Pacific Northwest and nationally and internationally from your human Rolodex. So,
absolutely, yeah, we're excited to start doing some work together.
Cool.
And I just want to really hit on the fact that we have a great team of people, lots of people who are really highly skilled in different areas. I sort of just kind of connect people and put things together. So
yeah.
It's a cool opportunity for the both of us to work and grow together, and we're excited to get on pretty much some work and just get going on this.
Cool. Yeah. No, it sounds like you're kind of like an agent. You hear what people ultimately want to do, and then you have your team and you delegate the proper resources to ultimately create what needs to be created to get the job done. I mean, that's what we're in the business for, to get the job done at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I just always want to do going into situations is to figure out how I can provide value for people, how I can connect the right people, and a lot of the skill set and all the the highly I would say targeted stuff that we're going to be doing is really up to some of the other people on the team. Like I said, I just kind of connect some people, Brennan, really skilled marketer here, does a lot of different things. Also is a very, very good music producer.
Great.
So we have a lot of different things going on. Ben, the actual founder of this company, very talented marketer of sales, and we have a whole team of people built out that we work with here.
And it sounds like you've got them up to line in terms of what you're going to be doing for Dirty Harry and Studio 110 to continue to make it, a household name. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. We want to see you grow. We want to grow together, and I think it's a great opportunity.
I do too. I do too. And it wasn't. I'm told that it wasn't too hard of a commute for you to come back today. I'm told that you live in the same building. We don't mention the name of the building, but the building where we broadcast the show from every day. So
honestly, it was a pretty far walk across the courtyard. So.
Yeah. So I appreciate you aligning your day to come back today. And Brandon, just kind of touch on just kind of your day to day, kind of ultimately a little bit. We'll touch on it more tomorrow, but your background and just kind of what you're good at, what puts a smile on your face when you ultimately get your hands dirty at at the kind of the motion of play that you do every day.
Absolutely, and thanks so much for having me on the show.
No problem.
Really excited for tomorrow and
Yeah.
get things going. But
Yeah.
Mainly what I do is mostly the advertising. So when our clients need to grow their brand online, they need to get in front of the right target audience. That's how we kind of connect the dots and make things happen for them.
There you go. Like I told Nick here, our buddy. I mean, he asked me ultimately what I want, and I was very direct, like I am. And he said, not tomorrow, but as everything continues to grow. I mean, I want Studio 110.live. And everything about Studio 110.live to be on billboards. I mean, that's where we need to be. Need to be on billboards so cars can be seeing us every day. Just as continuing to be a household name. So I mean, I think it's very achievable, and I can see it happening down the road with the proper tools and resources. Going into the proper ingredients to making it happen. So
absolutely,
very, very excited to have you guys on tomorrow, and I'm excited. I have no idea currently what I know what we've talked about in terms of what I want you guys to create and do, but it sounds from what I've been told about you is you kind of take things and then you just kind of mesh them up properly, kind of with your key fundamental understandings on how to kind of brand-to-brand awareness and point-to-point executional points and everything associated. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you create for the show here and everything as a collective effort. So
absolutely, very excited.
Thank you, and don't lose too much sleep tonight. Get a good night's sleep. I don't want you to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking like, gosh, should I present that? Should I present this? And da 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 da. I just no. We won't be too hard on the overall critique level. We'll keep it quite respectful tomorrow as we debut you guys being new partners of my show here and the team here at Studio 110.live. And I want to thank you guys for coming in today. And any shout outs that we want to give to anybody right now that's listening. I mean, we'll do more of them tomorrow, but I'm sure you told people that you were going to be coming on. So
well, absolutely, we want to save all the good stuff for tomorrow, but we just want to let people know for tomorrow we're really going to be talking about what we're going to be doing together, and then also giving people, small businesses, brands, lots of really good tiny tips that they can start implementing themselves. So they're definitely going to want to tune in and listen to some of the things that we're going to say.
Cool. And you're not going to give any secrets away that we're going to be doing here for the show. I mean, these are things that people most likely you'd have to pay to either go subscribe to a video or buy a book, or for the people that actually still do that. So make sure that we're not unveiling any secrets that we're going to be doing on the show. These are for the people like in the 54th row back, in the back part of the room that still need to get some enjoyment out of it. Right?
Absolutely. Don't worry.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So thank you. Thanks for coming in today. What time are you guys on tomorrow? I got so much going on in my brain that I couldn't even tell you what time.
I believe we're on at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
1 p.m. Good. Good. Yeah. So you'll be on tomorrow 1 o'clock, and we'll have a good interview, and we'll unveil some fun things that are going to be in the works here at Studio 110.live, and I'll look forward to you guys coming in. Just kind of the closeout last 10 minutes. Thank you again, Keanu, for coming on the show today, and please send my regards to your boss, John McDaniel over there. He's doing great things, and I was joking about the shout out. You've got enough to hit on your show. It's a weekly show, and but you know how hard it is to perfect the craft to continue to put on a weekly show. I mean, I'm sure you're doing everything that you have to do on a weekly basis to lead up to have everything sound really proper and good. So thank you again. Just much continuous success to you over there at C89.5. Shout out to DJ Nasty Ness, Jason and Jamal from the High Children, my family listening, and just so many people out there. Eric and Alex and my boy John and my boy Dan, my boy Mike, my boy Randy, and Brandon, my two buddies, Brandon. I got a Brandon in the car tech automotive side. I got a buddy Brandon in the cannabis side. My boy Mark, childhood friend. My buddy Mark, actually in Tampa, Florida, watching and listening right now. My buddy D in New York, John in New York, Izzy in New York, Steve Lobel, Jamie Adler. We got a lot of heavy hitters that have been on the show, that are going to continue to be on the show. Oh, my boy Walter Thurman used to play for the Seahawks. Then he went to New York. He's got his brand called Fan Stereo, which is a headphone and speaker brand. He sent me this really nice care package of these headphones and speakers that we'll be giving away some of those on the show and getting him on to kind of open up that pathway. And Jason and Jamal from the High Children will be representing that brand. They'll be, I'm hearing that they're going to be creating an exclusive brand for the High Children in conjunction and in correlation with the High Children for Fan Stereo. And then I'm hearing that they want to do something for me for Dirty Harry and Studio 110. So just another monumental thing here, that the show is reaching all new levels. From the VR, our buddy from the local company here that specializes in virtual reality, making me my own kind of Dirty Harry-esque VR image. It normally costs $10,000. Just making one, have his whole team work late at night to getting that done and produced so we can unveil that here on the show. So got a lot of exciting things. And then, of course, we got a big announcement tomorrow on the show in my last hour, about 3 o'clock. We're going to make a big announcement and unveil what people will definitely need to be part of and come out and support. So we got a lot tomorrow on a good Friday afternoon show before we kick off the weekend here and on the West Coast side. Looks like it's not raining. Hopefully, it was pouring earlier, but where we broadcast from here in downtown Bellevue, it looks overcast. Looking forward to spring, wrapping up and getting into summer, so I can get on and who knows? Maybe I'll be able to broadcast from a jet ski. Be able to broadcast from the heart of Lake Washington and do a big jet ski boat party, where I can just be on a jet ski with my headset and have a mic attached to me and just going from boat to boat, interviewing people and giving things away. And that's the way I think. I mean, it's the way I've always thought. If you're not creative, what are you? If you're not on the bus, get off the bus. So that's the way I continue to think, and that's the way I want to develop and have the proper pathways into the show. So with that being said, if you're on the West Coast, got about 2 hours before you wrap up the day for the people that are doing the typical 9 to 5. And I'm sorry for the people that, dread your job and don't like your boss. But you know what? You got one more day. Then it's the weekend. Then you can go to your neighborhood bars or do whatever you guys are going to do for your personal pleasure ways that you guys enjoy doing it. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off for the day. I'm going to sign off about a few minutes early because I got to get into some post-production. It's a little radio jargon term that we got to do here for tomorrow's show. But with that being said, it was another great show today. Thank you, Erica, my show producer. Thank you to Nick and Brennan and Keanu and everyone else that was part of the show today. Of course, shout out to Elena Mack. I had an opportunity to play her song Chance. It's almost in full rotation here at Studio 110.live. I got 3 spins today, 3 yesterday, so I mean it's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty well. She should be pretty happy that Chance is definitely surpassed its beginning stages of airplay from a local artist who definitely has a lot of exciting things on the forefront. And come out and support her event. It's going to be May 12th. We'll get all the details on our Instagram page. And if you're not following us on Instagram, like I say every day, honestly, what are you waiting for? There's really nothing else to do other than to go to Studio110.live. Follow us on our Instagram. We've got some really funny videos of Sir Mix-a-Lot and I up there, and Josh from The Deadliest Catch, and just all the other celebrities that have stopped by and that are going to continue to stop by. Shout out to my boy Ryan Conley and the entire team here at Studio110.live, FutureNet.club. Shout out to Cristiano and Pierre and Aaron and Julianne and Haley and Jen and everybody here that makes the brand shine every day. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off for the day. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon wherever you're listening from, here locally in Bellevue, nationally, internationally. We'll be back tomorrow with my boy Nick and his crew here starting at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Have a good night, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.